In 1983, a 12-year-old boy lay on the ground outside his school in South Africa. Blood covered his face. His eyes were swollen shut. A group of older boys had just thrown him down a concrete staircase and kicked him until he stopped moving. He couldn't walk for 2 weeks. He couldn't breathe properly for months, and when he finally returned to school, nobody protected him. Nobody cared. That broken boy would one day send humans to space, build the most valuable car company on Earth, and become one of the richest people in history. His name is Elon Musk, and his story begins in pain. Elon was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. His mother, May, was a model and dietitian. His father, Errol, was an engineer. From the outside, they looked like a successful family. But inside their home, things were different. Elon's parents divorced when he was 9 years old. He made a decision that would haunt him for years. He chose to live with his father. He later called this the worst decision of his life. Errol was a difficult man, cold, critical. He made Elon feel small and worthless. Elon would sit in silence for hours while his father lectured him about everything he did wrong. There was no warmth, no encouragement, just silence and judgment. But perhaps the deepest wound came from school. Elon was not like other children. He was awkward. He was quiet. He loved books more than people. While other kids played sports, Elon read encyclopedias. He memorized entire books about rockets and computers. He lived inside his own mind, and in South Africa in the 1980s, being different was dangerous. The bullying was brutal. Groups of boys targeted him every day. They called him names. They pushed him. They punched him. The attack on the staircase was the worst, but it was not the only one. Elon learned to expect pain. He learned that the world was not a safe place, and yet something strange happened inside that lonely boy's mind. Instead of breaking, he started dreaming. He discovered computers at age 10. He taught himself to code. By age 12, he created his first video game and sold it to a magazine for $500. While other kids played outside, Elon was building worlds on a screen. Computers didn't judge him. Computers didn't hit him. Computers made sense. He also fell in love with science fiction. He read stories about space travel, about Mars, about the future of humanity. These books planted a seed. What if humans could live on other planets? What if he could help make that happen? But first, he had to escape. At 17, Elon made a plan. He knew that if he stayed in South Africa, he would be forced to join the military. He didn't want to fight in a war he didn't believe in. He wanted to go to America, the land of opportunity, the land where dreamers could build the future. There was one problem. Getting to America was almost impossible for a South African teenager, so he found another way. His mother was born in Canada. That meant Elon could apply for Canadian citizenship. It was a long shot. It took months, but finally he got his papers. In 1989, just before his 18th birthday, Elon Musk boarded a plane with a small bag and a few $100s. He left behind his father. He left behind the bullies. He left behind everything he knew. He was alone. And he was free. But wait. Freedom and success are not the same thing. Elon arrived in Canada with almost nothing. He had no job. He had no friends. He had a distant relative who was supposed to meet him at the airport. That relative never showed up. So Elon wandered the streets of Montreal, looking for a place to sleep. For the next year, he worked the hardest jobs he could find. He cleaned boilers at a lumber mill. The job was dangerous and dirty. He made $12 an hour. He shoveled grain on farms. He slept in youth hostels and cheap apartments. Sometimes, he barely had enough money for food. Most people would have given up. But Elon remembered the books about Mars. He remembered the feeling of creating something on a computer. He held onto his dream like a rope over a dark ocean. Eventually, he enrolled at Queen's University in Ontario. Then he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in America. Finally, he was in the country of his dreams. He studied physics and economics. He worked hard. He graduated, and then he took his first big risk. In 1995, Elon and his brother Kimball started a company called Zip2. It was a simple idea. They created online maps for newspapers. Today, that sounds obvious. But in 1995, most people didn't even have email. Elon worked so hard that he slept in the office. He couldn't afford an apartment and an office, so he chose the office. He showered at a local YMCA. He lived on cheap food. He was 24 years old, and he was betting everything on an idea. 4 years later, Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. Elon became a millionaire overnight. Most 28-year-olds would have relaxed. They would have bought a nice house, maybe a car, and enjoyed their money. Elon did buy a sports car, a McLaren F1, one of the fastest cars in the world. But here is what nobody expected. He took almost all his remaining money and started another company. It was called 10th Com. It would eventually merge with another company and become PayPal. PayPal changed how people send money online. It made transactions fast, safe, and simple. And it grew incredibly quickly. By 2002, eBay wanted to buy it. The sale price? $1.5 billion. Elon's share was $165 million. He was now one of the richest young people in America. He was 31 years old. He had proven everyone wrong. The bullied boy from South Africa had made it. And then he did something that most people thought was insane. He started 2 new companies at the same time. One was called SpaceX. Its mission was to build rockets and eventually send humans to Mars. The other was called Tesla Motors. Its mission was to make electric cars that people actually wanted to drive. Both ideas seemed impossible. Nobody had successfully built a private rocket company before. The space industry was controlled by governments and giant corporations. The experts laughed at Elon. They said he was wasting his money. And electric cars? In 2003, every electric car looked ugly and drove like a golf cart. People didn't believe you could make an electric car that was fast and beautiful. But Elon believed. He put $100 million into SpaceX. He put $70 million into Tesla. He became chairman of a solar panel company called Solar City. He was spreading himself thin. And then the failures began. SpaceX launched its first rocket in 2006. It exploded. They launched a second rocket in 2007. It exploded. They launched a third rocket in 2008. It also exploded. Each failure cost millions of dollars. Elon watched his rockets burn in the sky. He watched his dream turn to smoke. Maybe you have felt this too. That moment when you try so hard, when you give everything you have and the world still says no. That moment when the voice in your head asks, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should stop. Elon didn't stop. But 2008 was about to get much worse. The global financial crisis hit. Banks collapsed. Companies died. Tesla was running out of money. They couldn't pay their employees. They couldn't pay their suppliers. At the same time, Elon's marriage was falling apart. He was getting divorced. He was losing his family while losing his companies. He later said that 2008 was the worst year of his life. Picture this moment. A man who once had over $100 million. Now he is borrowing money from friends just to pay rent. His rockets are exploding. His car company is dying. His marriage is over. He had to choose. Save SpaceX or save Tesla? He chose both. He put his last remaining money into both companies. Everything. If they failed, he would have nothing. Absolutely nothing. December 2008. SpaceX was preparing its fourth rocket launch. If this rocket exploded like the first three, the company was finished. There was no more money, no more chances. Elon stood in the control room. His heart was pounding. Years of work, years of pain, years of dreams, all came down to this moment. The rocket lifted off. Seconds passed. It kept climbing. More seconds. The crowd held their breath, and then something incredible happened. The rocket reached orbit. It was the first privately built liquid fuel rocket to ever reach Earth's orbit. History was made that day. 3 weeks later, NASA called. They offered SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. The company was saved. Around the same time, Tesla received emergency funding. It survived, too. Elon Musk had walked to the edge of complete ruin. And he had walked back. In the years that followed, everything changed. Tesla became the most valuable car company in the world. SpaceX launched astronauts to the International Space Station. Then it landed rockets back on Earth and reused them, something everyone said was impossible. Elon became one of the richest people in human history. But here is what matters most. When you look at Elon Musk today, you see a billionaire. You see the rockets. You see the cars. You see the headlines. But underneath all of that is still a lonely boy from South Africa. A boy who was beaten and told he was worthless. A boy who dreamed about Mars while hiding from bullies. He didn't succeed because life was easy for him. He succeeded because life was incredibly hard for him, and he kept going anyway. That is his real lesson. The world will tell you that you are not good enough. The world will knock you down. The world will make you feel small and alone. But you decide what happens next. You can stay on the ground, or you can get up, look at the sky, and build a rocket. Elon looked up. He built the rocket, and he changed the world. What will you build?